Here we are down in the creek bed, just south downhill from the secondary dam, which is really right here in front of us, right here. Okay, up ahead is where the primary dam used to be, and then way off in the distance, just this side of the tree line, is the old beaver lodge. Okay, here's the big tree that defines right where the big dam was. Okay, so now let's walk up the creek. Okay, we're going through the secondary. We just went through the secondary dam, and now we're pretending we're being a beaver, although I'm standing up and looking for a good spot to make a dam. And hopefully what we're seeing is that the sides are 2-3 feet high on both sides. And my thinking is that the beaver's going to say, well, heck, if I dam this up, I won't get much out of it, so I don't want to do that. So this isn't a good spot. That's my thought. So now, see, the beaver's kind of going along here and saying, gee, I won't get too much out of it. Now, one problem I've got is that here, right here, is the full height of the dam. It's about 4 feet high right there, to the west of where the creek bed is, which is where we are right here. And I haven't been able to cross the creek here, I'm afraid to. Even though it's dried out, it's still muddy, and I've gotten pretty good sized tractor stuck in this stuff. It sinks in, and so I'm a little chicken about trying to cross there and to cut out, pull this whole part away all the way to that big tree and maybe 20 feet beyond it, to get that all leveled off too. But I'm hoping that this is good enough for this year. If the dry weather continues, I had my backhoe broke the other day, but I just got it fixed. I might take a shot at getting across and trying to build a bank like this on the other side of the creek to make the beavers think that the pond is, that there's no point in trying to make a pond. So we're going to walk up here, walk up the creek, and we can see that this is not rocky bottom like the rest of the creek was, because this was all behind the dam. So all this stuff here is, as water flowed into the ponded area, it slowed down and deposited a lot of dirt. And so this is the creek bed here that we're walking through right now. And up the creek, continuing up the creek, and I'm not going to go a lot further, but just kind of following the creek for a ways. And we can see that it's all absolutely empty, and so on. So I'm going to step up out of the creek bed now onto the bank. This area I just stepped up 2.5 feet was still underwater, and the area dead ahead of me right there, although you can't see it very well, that's where the lodge was. Is this area right here. It's just the grass is covered up so well, it's really hard to see. I think it's really pretty amazing that this was all underwater last September, October, and how many grass seeds and other weed seeds there were that make this look like a jungle again. But this area in front of us here is pretty dangerous to walk on, because there's all kinds of beaver runs that they cut into the dirt. So you could fall in a hole 2 or 3 feet deep in at least a dozen places along here. So at any rate, so now we're kind of going to go back and look at the repair job here. So So if you can see right along here, this is where the dam used to be. There's a trackster there. That trackster, you would have been barely able to see the top of it from here before I started fixing things, because the land was that much lower there behind the dam. And so I've hopefully pulled back most of the dirt, and we'll take a good look at that in a minute. And right where the big tree is, just a little bit to the right of that, is where I initially cut out the dirt to let the pond drain out. Now we're kind of coming back down the creek toward the big tree and the trackster there. So you can see what a hole this is right in front of us. Hopefully that would make the beavers think, gee, there isn't anything to be gained by trying to turn this into a pond. Right in front of us here, this is a high area. This area right here was barely underwater when the pond was at its highest. So what they had done was they had carved tunnels, 2 or 3 tunnels through here, so that they could stay well underwater when they wanted to go that way. And those tunnels created a problem later on in the draining process. When it did rain again, even though I had drained the pond, the water would raise in the creek right where I'm standing enough to go through those beaver tunnels, or whatever you want to call them, and then the water would wash over there, the area where my corduroy road is, and destroy the road. Did it a couple of times this spring. So I have now refilled them, like here and one other spot, kind of over there. So now we'll just get up on top of all this, climb out of the hole here, and take a look back at the progress we've made. As I think I've probably said, we ran out of dirt, but now this is all fairly level. There is a dip right here, just like I say, ran out of dirt, but hopefully the berm right here is high enough that they'd think twice about damming it up. At least if they do dam it up and I don't wait too long between visits to look for them, I can get rid of them before they can do any significant damage. So there we are. Now we're looking at some more or less level land that used to be a big hole where the beaver pond once was. And you can see the trackster down there. That would have been 4 feet down lower before I started moving the dirt back from the dam ridges.